Wow.
George Collins, how's it going?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great, except for the fact that I just ran the intro prematurely and my camera wasn't running, so we have to just pretend that didn't happen and delete it from the replay.
Some gremlins in the system.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Except unfortunately the gremlins is just me not knowing how to run this software correctly. How you been? Where are you coming to us from right now?
So I'm currently in Boston in a tiny little studio apartment. You know, this is where I'm set up now because I go to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Originally from the UK, but I managed to get across here like to do online classes. But yeah, so I'm in America, but I'm just cooped up in my little apartment.
Are you totally online this year?
Yeah, totally online.
Damn, yeah, that's what my school is. I'm at the new school in the West Village, Greenwich Village, around there, and they they were like late last semester. They put us online for maybe like the last month or two, and then they were kind of hinting that they were going to be like somewhat in person over the summer. They kept saying that. They're like, oh, we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. And then right before school started, they're like, everything is online. Dorms are for like a limited amount of people, basically just for the musicians at our school, since it's a multi, the different studies there, and they'll allow you to go into the school. But besides that, everything else is online.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for us. Like I was in the dorms and we got kicked out, just like told we had to go home like in a week's time. We were like, oh, nice. Okay. So then I went back home, but back here now, but that's good. It's all good.
Awesome. That's good. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm
getting texts that you need to be louder, so I'm working out some kinks right now, but that's not your fault. That's me. So I'm just making sure that everyone can hear you clearly. If anyone in the chat, if you can hear any issues with me or George stream, let me know so I make sure that in the future it's better. So George, I want to ask, what was it? Because for me, I got into drumming pretty young, and nowadays I focus mostly on this kind of stuff. Like I'm trying to get into the podcasting. What was it that got you into music?
So that's a very interesting question, because for most of my like childhood, wasn't really interested in music at all. Like so I started. My first instrument was the piano accordion, and then I went on to alto sax, and then later on to guitar. But like I never really actively listened to music until like a few years ago. So I think mainly came from like my dad playing, Nirvana, like Guns N' Roses in the car. But then that led to me like really disliking those bands. So I kind of had this weird like love-hate relationship where I was just like doing music lessons, didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then, it kind of came in two phases. So when I started playing the guitar, and then I really started like taking off with that, I started like finding my own music taste. I found like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, like John Mayer. And that's then when I was like, oh, I actually do like music. Okay, like I can do this. So yeah.
Is that when you got into playing guitar?
Yeah, that was around like, so I started playing guitar when I was 9, but I only really started playing it when I was maybe like 13 or 14. And that was just because like I never really enjoyed listening to music. I was just like, oh, I've just got to do music lessons, so
yeah. What was it that got you into the whole Instagram thing?
Do you know what, like I think I started posting regularly in like 2016, 2017, and it was mainly because I was starting to play a lot more, and I was like, I just need somewhere to like post stuff. And I thought maybe like in a few years time I can look back and see like how much I've improved or what's like changed in my playing. And then I just started posting like John Mayer covers, and that was pretty much it. That I only really played John Mayer covers.
Well, actually, I saw a YouTube video of yours where you're doing an Instagram Q&A, and someone mentioned that they kind of busted your chops for looking like John Mayer. Is that a conscious, are you thinking like, man, this is my inspiration, I want to have his style? Or is it just, where does that come from, of that love for John Mayer?
Okay, so it was so like for the longest time I just wanted to be John Mayer. I was like, okay, I'm only gonna learn John Mayer songs, I'm gonna look like John Mayer, I'm gonna do all this stuff. But then it like came to like a point, I think it was I had like a epiphany one day. You know, I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, there's only one John Mayer, isn't there?
Hmm.
And I'm not him. So I was like, I think it's a natural thing that you need to kind of find your own way. I mean, of course, he's like one of my biggest influences, like in my playing. But it was a conscious effort until like I wanted to like start, you know, doing my own music. And so that's on my Instagram now. I'm mainly just posting my own stuff, just because
Hmm.
I wanna break out of that John Mayer mold. Although I'm so grateful for all the people that have found me through the John Mayer covers, it's I just want to be my own person now.
Do you find that annoying that people, no matter what, will bust your chops about that kind of stuff? Like, everyone has an inspiration, and when people are inspired by somebody, they tend to like have similar traits, but that's the point of inspiration. Does it annoy you that people kind of pigeonhole you to that, like, oh, the John Mayer guy?
I feel like it's always going to be like that, like for anyone. Because I feel like John Mayer was always like you know, clowned on for being like a Stevie Ray Vaughan ripoff, and like, so it's just inherent that it's always going to happen when you have an influence. But it does annoy me sometimes if people take it too far. You know, if people start like DMing me, it's like, yeah, I don't care. But
We have a question about John Mayer from Mr. Orange Bananas in the live chat, because
oh
he is
no way.
also a massive, massive John Mayer fan. He says, "When did you find out that John Mayer is the love of your life?" I did when I was 14. Oh my lord! Well, you kind of already went through that. Orange Bananas, keep up, man. Orange. um, when did you know, after making these Instagram videos? When did it feel like it was really starting to go somewhere? Was it like a singular video that you did that took off, or was it more of a slower pace?
It was pretty slow until there was this one video I did. It was this, of course, it was like a John Mayer cover. Um, I was in this like this orange T-shirt. I always wore it, and it was this like funky riff, and it got like 5,000 views in like a day, which was like amazing for me at that point. I think I had like what 300 followers, so that just
Hmm.
like took off out of nowhere. And I remember it got reposted on some like Fender guitar like junkie page or whatever, like one of these feature pages.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh whoa, like I'm getting like I got like 20 followers off that post. Like what's going on? So then I was like, maybe I should start posting more, you know, like I got and every post from then just gained more and more traction. Of course, there were like some that don't do as well as others, but it was from then I was like, maybe I should like start posting regularly, because I felt like I'd kind of hit some sort of, you know, groove with my
Hmm.
posting. So yeah, that's kind of where it took off. And then I think it was the next year I had like 5,000 followers in the November. I can't remember which one it was, but then like in January I had 13,000, and then it just
Wow.
grew exponentially. So I think that was going into like 2019. So that was kind of crazy. And then I went to the NAM show in Anaheim, LA, NAM 2019, and that was the first time it really hit me, because I you know, grew up in North Yorkshire in England, which is just middle of nowhere, like just sheep everywhere.
Hmm.
And you know, went to LA, and yeah, modest following of like, you know, 13,000, like not much, like in the grand scheme of things. But I remember I had someone come up to me and be like, "Oh, I love like your Instagram stuff," and I was like, "No, this is crazy. Like, no, that this shouldn't be
Hmm.
happening. Like, no one recognizes me." But that was kind of like the first thing that was like, yeah, I should like, you know, take this forward more.
Did you see it going into it? I know you said you kind of wanted it to just so you could go look back and see your playing as time went. Did you see it as something where like, was it conscious that it could become, you know, your thing and become bigger than just looking back on what you were doing, or was it more of a surprise?
It was quite a surprise. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really expect it to go very far, because I know that like I'm not an amazing guitar player. Like I see like, especially at Berkeley, and you see on Instagram all day, it's always like you see these guys that just can just guys and girls as well, like they can just rip over anything. And I feel so like self-conscious about everything. Like just to name a few, there's like Sophie Giuliani,
Hmm.
amazing guitarist from Australia. She's awesome. Met her at NAM as well. And oh God, I'm trying to think of it. It's like who else am I thinking of? You know, my mind goes blank, obviously.
No, I get you. My
But
mind's going blank right now, so I get it.
yeah, but there's just millions of them, and I just feel so self-conscious about my playing. But I guess if I just put the blinkers on and I'll do me, and then
Well, I found that there's kind of like, I'm hesitant to use the word toxic culture, but there is like when, especially with musicians in general, because I think musicians have some of the most annoying opinions, and that's coming from someone who's been playing music my entire life, that there is sort of this opinion that, oh, you can't shed? What, you can't just rip on this tune? What the hell are you doing? Like, you should
totally.
quit. And it's awful. And I don't know, like, I'm very fortunate that the new school, in terms of the kind of attitude there is that most people, especially the newer students, I noticed that within a year. Like, I came in 2017, and the freshmen of the next year and the year after that were like, so, not that my year was not open-minded, but they were so much more open-minded in terms of not judging people for, not being the best fusion rock or jazz musician imaginable. They were cool to people doing new things. What's the atmosphere at Berkeley like? Do you find it to be kind of toxic, or is it more relaxed?
I mean, I guess it depends like who you hang around with.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be. I feel like at Berkeley, everyone kind of knows it for being like a jazz college,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not like a big jazz guy myself. I'm trying to get into it to like develop my playing, but you're always going to have those like really hardcore jazzers that you just can't keep up with. But I don't feel like, I feel like it has been good for me, because you hang around with the people that you're friends with, because you just want to be mates with with like amazing musicians at the end of the day. And like I was lucky enough to like find a really nice group of friends. We had a band, but obviously they're all in different countries now, so that's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's just about picking the people you hang around with, and that's the main thing.
Was that the band you're talking about? Is that the one you did the virtual Wolfpack video with?
Yes, but we kind of had a few interchangeable people. So the drummer, we changed drummer a couple of times, because the original drummer, like Ollie Woods, like incredible player, but he dropped out of Berkeley after the first semester.
Doesn't it seem like that's always, I always meet people and I'm like, man, these people are so great. And then the next semester it's like, oh no, they're on tour with, Bruno Mars. They always drop right out.
It's exactly like that. But yeah, people just, I feel like Berkeley, maybe with every music college, it is just that thing of like, it's kind of just, people just come and go. You just got to adapt to whatever situation comes your way.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm happy to hear that there are people around other colleges that I mean, of course there are. There's always going to be the good and the bad people, but I'm happy to hear that you've had a good experience, because I talk, if especially with Mr. Augie Bello, Mr. Orange Bananas, and my roommate Valerio, they've heard me rant about kind of the culture of musicians, because it's one of those things. It's like I've known people in that kind of scene so long. Especially, I've only been in New York for 3 years, but I knew like the small town, upstate New York type musician crowd, and it's like, it's amazing how just mean they can be.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
It really is awful. And then once you put the internet on that, and because it's like music, it's like the internet is bad by itself, then you add musicians to that, and that's where it's like that whole kind of culture of especially like people commenting on Instagram on these musicians' pages, like, oh, this guy sucks. He's not. What are you talking about? You should have played this chord over that. It's like, shut up.
Mainly it's those like harmful Instagram comments. I get my fair few, which is like, I think everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you get like overwhelmingly positive comments most of the time, but then there'll be one negative comment, and you just hone straight into that, and you think, oh, everyone hates me. Damn.
It's awful. And I don't have experience as being a successful Instagrammer. I made some videos last summer. It was more of like an kind of an exercise of, could I do it? How much I could make a week, in terms of how much I could put out. And even then, with no views, there is always someone who says just one really just genuinely mean thing. And it's shocking, because you're like, what? This got, especially for me when I first started, it's like, this has 200 views. That's nothing. And yet someone found it and took the time to say, this is awful.
Yeah, people have too much time on their hands, I think, these days.
I did this Instagram video where my parents, they live upstate and they have donkeys. And if you know anything about donkeys, is they are made, like if they were a product that were manufactured, their purpose that you would purchase them with is to hold things. They're just built perfect for that. And so putting a lot of weight on a donkey does not harm it in any way, okay? I make a video where I remix the Shrek theme and I put, let's see, do I have it? This MIDI keyboard. Oh, I just dropped something. This little tiny MIDI keyboard. It weighs nothing. I put it on his back and I I play the drums on it. He doesn't even know it's there. He's not tied up. And he's just sitting there, totally innocent. Could have left if he wanted. It gets reposted. And like 10 comments. This is animal abuse. This is what he's hurting this animal. And I'm like, could you really? You look at this donkey. It's a freaking animal built to carry things. And yet you took the time to bash it and say that I'm an animal abuser. It's unbelievable.
Oh, that's unreal. That's kind of funny in a way, though.
I will say, I kind of wish it got more views just so I could like have a little bit of a controversy, because it would be ridiculous if people were saying like, this guy's hurting animals. And I'm like, no, I feed this animal and pet it, take care of it. And I put a half a pound keyboard on its back for 10 seconds. That was my extent.
Just so you can get canceled in 10 years,
you know what? Honestly, it's at that point where it's like, well, here's the thing. The only people that I really could cancel me for that type of thing would be PETA. And PETA is one of those companies where it's like, everyone kind of doesn't like them. On both sides of the political spectrum, it seems like they tend to not get too much respect. So I think I'm safe in that regard.
You're in the clear. You're fine.
I'm in the clear. But it is true though, like one comment can just destroy, if 99% of the comments are fantastic and one comment is slightly mean, it can destroy you for a little while.
Yeah, it's really tough because you've got to try and just block it out, because it can really like affect you mentally as well when you like spend so much time practicing and then making a video, and you're trying to like make people happy, and then you get these comments and you're like, oh, okay, got to start from square one. But it's sort of just a life lesson, because there's always going to be annoying people in the world. So
that's true. Were you always kind of, like you said, it's of course it's still hard to deal with that kind of thing, but has it gotten better for you, or did you always have that kind of ability to just sort of put the blinders on and just kind of walk through it and ignore it a little bit?
Yeah, I guess to some extent it did get to me, because that was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of went away from the John Mayer thing.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's just the way forward. Is you gotta listen to your haters sometimes, because they're hating for a reason. But to an extent, you gotta like, if people are too mean, then nah. But
I got great advice from one of my teachers. His name's Hank Shockley. He produced the group Public Enemy. He was him and his brother, part of a group called the Bomb Squad, which is our production like group that produced Public Enemy. And I think I was actually telling him about people making fun of me or being mad at me for the donkey video. And he said something really funny. He says, you always make something thinking you're going to make it for the people who like it. He's like, but you got to make something. There's always going to be someone who hates it. So you got to make something for them too, so they have something to do. Because the people who are mean, who are mean are going to be mean. So you got to give them something to be entertained by,
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I'm going to hit the comments real quick, because we have a couple. Mr. Carl Taylor, who has been incredibly supportive of these live streams. So shout out, Carl. Mad respect to you. He asks, if you could bring 5 of your heroes to a space for a year, who would it be and why?
Oh, 5. Okay. To space or a space?
And wait, let me see. Oh, is it? Oh, it is to space. I thought it was to a space. I think I just kind of filled that in my head. It's to space. So I guess maybe like a space station type situation, maybe.
Oh, well, you're going to be cooped up with them for a while, so you've got to. That's really interesting. It can't be anyone too annoying. That's one thing. Would I want all guitarists as well? Because then I would just, there's no one to play with.
I'll tell you for sure, I would not want all drummers, and I'm a drummer.
True. It's very true. Well, in answer to the question, it would probably have to go with just the people that like I'm listening to at the moment, like because they're the ones I really who I'm really like digging at the moment music wise. So that's probably like Tom Mish, just because I'd love to learn the way he makes beats. Because wow. And actually, in fact, maybe like one of his inspirations, like Jay Dilla, that would be cool. I mean, did it say alive or dead? I don't know. We'll go
I
with,
don't think it clarified. So just
I'll
go with
go
it. Be
for.
anything.
We can go for dead people as well. Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
And then probably so I got Tom Mish, Jay Dilla, maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan because he was like one of my biggest influences growing up. Mark Knopfler as well. I was really into Mark Knopfler, like Dire Straits, when I was playing guitar. So like that would be awesome. And then one more. Let's go John Mayer. Let's humor my audience.
That's a great answer. I know this question isn't technically for me, but I want to answer it anyway.
Go for it.
I say for me it would be Steve Gadd because I think he's one of the most incredible drummers ever. He might be the most incredible drummer ever. This is controversial, but Michael Jackson, because I'm purely on music, just on the music front. Michael Jackson, you can see it. They can't. You can see it through this other camera. I have a 6 foot tall Michael Jackson poster in my room. It's a 6 foot tall picture of a Michael Jackson album. That's what I'll say. But him, I'd probably put David Blaine. You know, the magician David Blaine. Yeah. I'd put David Blaine on there. Probably someone really smart. I really like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'd put Neil deGrasse Tyson on there to just teach me random things.
See, your answers are so much more interesting than mine. Come on.
No, I don't. No. I don't think that they're more interesting. I think it's that they're less focused. They're just totally random. I'm not,
True.
I don't think there's no coherency with what I'm saying. It's just the people that I feel like would like balance each other out, maybe. And
yeah, mine would be very intense.
Yeah, the fifth, I can't really think of 5. I'll just say, let's just say one of them died, but I don't know what, like, there's like a 5th person that died and couldn't come along. Oh my Lord, this car going.
Wow.
That is 4 stories down outside. And that's like ear blastingly loud. Oh my Lord. Let me see if we have any more questions in this chat. If anyone has anything, please comment any questions. Augie Bello has something to say. He says, "Hi, George. I am a big fan. Big fan, okay?
A huge fan."
He says, "I hope one day for you to recognize my musics. Please make collaborations on me." What an elegant man Augie Bello is.
I don't know who this Augie Bello is that you talk of. But maybe you should hit me up,
Okay, now we have a real question. Matthew Lazo. At this stage in your playing, do you think you still need Berkeley, or do you think you're ready to start your career?
Berkeley. I need Berkeley as much as possible. There's so much I'm still like learning, and I don't feel like I'm in the position to say like I'm good. I can like go out into the world because like I was saying earlier, there's so many people that I watch that are just like so incredibly like more technical than I am that I want to get to that point. I feel like playing guitar, there's always going to be like a next thing that you can be learning. But especially like, I mean, I was in my guitar lesson like 2 days ago, and we were just doing different like major scales up the neck. And I was tripping up on it, and I was like, come on, like this is like should be the easiest thing ever. But it's like the best thing, because then it's like the things I don't know, I'm never going to be a better guitarist if I only play the things that I'm good at. So no, I think I need to milk Berkeley for as much as like I can at the moment.
Here, my girlfriend has a question now, actually. She texted me. I don't know why she didn't just put in the chat. She said, "What's the music scene like in England?" Oh, she's a huge Beatles fan, so I'm assuming this is why she's asking. What's the music scene like in England versus the United States?
See, I haven't really gone to many concerts over here. Like the only like, neither have I been to like any jams. Like in Boston, like I went to a Rex Orange County gig like in February, but that was it. And like where I live, there's not really a music scene either because it's in England. So I mean, there's a really good music scene in Leeds, which is like the closest city to where I live. Kind of like indie music, quite a lot of like heavier stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've it's weird. It's really odd because I've never been like a big like concert goer, which is kind of strange for like a musician. Like I feel like I need to do more of that. However, like can't at the moment.
Yeah, this is I mean, if
So,
you're not a big concert person, I guess this is a good time for that.
oh yeah, it is. But yeah, that's yeah, I never really found myself like going to find new music, which is I guess one thing I need to work on.
Mm-hmm. How do you? What's the scene in Boston like? Because I know New York. I really dig the music scene. Minus the problems I have with, like I said, musician culture. But I do really like the scene there. How's it in Boston?
I believe it's very good. I know there's a couple jazz clubs and stuff, but I've never been down there because I would die in a jazz jam.
They're harsh. They're really harsh.
Oh, that's why I'm not even going to attempt until I can play all of the real book without the book. And
That'll cost you $30 for the book, and then a lot of money that you won't make back because you just spent all your time memorizing the real book.
oh, I know. I think I'm too far gone now. I'm like, I'm not even going to attempt.
I spent my whole life playing jazz up until college, and then that was kind of when I started getting out of it. But there was a time where, you could say to me like, "What's this tune?" and I could name most of them, and now it's at the point where it's like, if it's not like a top 10 hit right now, I have a little bit of problem saying it. Do you listen to because I know you said you have a lot of contemporary inspiration. Do you listen to modern music that might not be your style? Like, do you ever go through like any of the playlists that have all the modern hits and check that kind of stuff out?
Sometimes, like, obviously, like I know most of the TikTok songs because who doesn't? Like, just expose myself there for using TikTok, but oh well. No, I'm pulling up my Spotify now. No, because mainly at the moment, like I'm really getting down into like the like beats and stuff because that's where I'm really wanted to take my music. So listen to like all this lo-fi stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I do need to like look at more new stuff because that's what people are liking. So I guess that's where the business is going, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially now that, you have to be able to make your own music, and because you can sing. I can't. So there's only well, I think you're a fantastic singer. I am not by any means. So like, you just released a song. Actually, I think I was doing a little research, and you released a song a month ago today, September 3rd. Is that correct?
Oh gosh, yeah, it is. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Did you produce that song?
Yeah, I produce all my music because I don't want to pay anyone else. So.
Yeah. Would you rather people know you as a guitarist or a producer?
To be honest, like a few like months ago, maybe a year ago, I'd have said I want people to know me as a guitarist. But
Mhm.
like now, I want to be known for like the music I write, not like my Instagram videos. So yeah, I actually think I would want to be known as producer. But for that, I need to produce more songs. So I can't call myself a producer yet because I don't feel like I've earned that title.
I've always wanted to call myself a producer, but every time I produce a song, getting people to sing it, since like I said, I can't, is always a difficult process. And I can produce something that sounds like, good enough. Then it comes to the part where I'm like, oh wait, now I have to actually write the song part of this,
Yeah.
which is the most important part. What is your order of operations when you're making a song? Do you start with the song or do you start with producing?
Start with producing actually. I find it incredibly hard to like sit down and write with a guitar in my hands. Like
Mm-hmm.
ever since like even when I started playing guitar, like I was really into like Ed Sheeran, of course, because I
Yeah.
was a teenage boy with a guitar. Like I was really into that, and I tried to sit down and write songs, but they were just really boring, and like I just couldn't do it for some reason. That I had a mental block like about writing a song with a guitar. So then it was more recently when I started releasing songs that I started like with a beat. Like I would start maybe with a chord progression, then like add the drums. And that was, I think, mainly like the Tom Misch inspiration. And then I'd have like an 8-bar beat, which I'll be like, okay, how do I make this 2 minutes 30? And how do I, just spitball some lyrics over the top and try and make a song?
Is that your guideline? 2.5 minutes for
Yeah,
everything?
2.5 minutes, because I feel like if I make anything over that, it gets boring because I don't know how to make it more interesting at the moment. So that's my like pretty chaotic way of writing a song.
Yeah, I always start with the producing, and then it always gets to a point where I either it's strange. I don't know about you. Either I produce something and then I immediately go, oh, I have an idea for this, or I produce something and it's like the idea of having it be anything except that beat is like really daunting to me, to the point where I'm like, how do I write something on top of this?
Oh
That's
yeah,
a problem that
exactly.
I always run into. Um, so let me see. So a second, I'm getting something on my YouTube. It's scaring me. I'm monitoring as I'm talking to you. I'm monitoring the YouTube stream to make sure that I don't go offline, because that was an issue the last time.
Oh no.
Um, YouTube's a pain in the butt, because I have to make sure that it's getting a clean signal, and then it's also running it back to me, and I'm trying not to overload my internet as we're going. But I think we're good still. So you said the music scene in Boston's good, and that you don't really tend to go to the jazz clubs. What's the type of music you can play in clubs? Where are the spots in Boston that you would go if you wanted to play something that wasn't jazz?
See, I feel like you're asking the wrong person.
Well, I know you
Because
said you're
like,
not the biggest live guy.
yeah, I to be honest, like I'm not actually really sure, because in my first 2 semesters when I was in the dorms, I never actually went out to like any like jams outside of Berkeley. I know there was like an open mic night at the Bebop, which is this like little cafe like kind of opposite my apartment.
Hmm.
Um, and but yeah, because there's also a thing with like, because on a student visa, I can't technically work, so I can't gig. So
Hmm.
that like kind of put me off. So that's one thing I want to do, is like when hopefully there's no virus going around, I want to start exploring more, because it's something I haven't done, and I really wish I did do when I had the chance.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bit of a regret for me in the first two semesters. I got myself bogged down with other things that weren't music,
Hmm.
and trying to play guitar as much as possible.
It's important though to have those non-musical kind of things going on, because especially for writing music, it's good to, because I don't think people who write music in a box really, it's not the best music, just in my opinion. And I know I'm very open to a lot of types of music, but I think you kind of have to have those non-musical experiences to write really good music. I don't think music feeds music as well as just natural experiences do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I feel like just the fact about going to America and just getting life experience is just like the fuel for songwriting. It's
Did you always want to come here?
um it was maybe about like 2 years ago, like 2018. It was when I went to like the guitar session summer course at
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley. It was like a week long course. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to like go to university in England, maybe do like a performance degree or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like at Berkeley, and then I started doing more research, and I was like, actually, like this could be really cool if I ended up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like America, like different countries, just like start again.
Was that the
Um,
5-week course at Berkeley?
no, it was just a one week
Just one
one
week?
week
Okay.
thing. Yeah, so it was like kind of flash in the pan, but
Mm-hmm.
it was enough to like make me think, all right, this is what I want to do. So then Berkeley was the only school I actually applied to.
Mm-hmm.
Like didn't apply. Well, I applied to one place in England, but I knew I wasn't going to go there because I didn't want to go. Because I knew that Berkeley was my only place, and I thought if I didn't get in, then I'll just try again. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to like waste my money somewhere else. But luckily, got in, and here we are today. But it all kind of changed very quickly, and my school didn't want me to do it. They didn't want me to do music for some reason.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
That's
it was very
strange.
very old fashioned, the way that like I
Gotcha.
think at least my school worked. They were like, oh, you want to do music, but have you ever thought of doing like a design degree? And I was like, no, I want to do music because that's what I like.
How is your family about that kind of stuff? Are they supportive with the whole
Oh,
music
so
thing?
supportive. Yeah, I couldn't be like more thankful for my family, because they've just been the best with supporting me with like getting me into guitar in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, like putting up with all the noise in the house when I'm home. So yeah, they've been like nothing but 100% supportive of me. So like, I really owe it to them.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about we were talking about Instagram earlier, and I feel like a big question that people always ask, to people like you is how do you come up with the stuff you do? But the thing I'm really curious about is not how you come up with it, but how do you keep yourself consistent? Is it is it a scheduled thing, or is it just you kind of have inspiration coming, so there's no real worry about it being consistent?
Yeah, that's one big thing I actually have an issue with is trying to stay consistent.
Hmm.
Because like back when I was just posting John Mayer, it felt like I had like an infinite catalog of things I could post.
Yeah.
But then when I start to like try and become original, that's the main kind of thing holding me back now is like I'm responsible for my own content now. It's not
Hmm.
like I can just do covers left, right, and center. So I try to do it as scheduled as possible. Like I try to do a video a week, but if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't. I don't want to like force anything out because
Yeah.
if you just try and force videos, they're the ones that don't perform as well. So it's like, I've got to try keep motivated. But most of the things at the moment, I'll make a beat if I'm feeling creative one day,
Hmm.
and I've just got like a folder on my computer of like beats. Some are really bad, some are okay. There's a few that are good, but they're in very short supply. And then I'll just like film a video of myself playing guitar over that. And then I mean some of these actually turn into songs as well. There was one song which it came off a live stream actually. I was making like a beat on an Instagram live stream,
Hmm.
and one of my Berkeley friends, his stage name's Aristotle Jones. He just commented and was like, "Yo, send me this. I'll rap over it. We'll make a song." And I was like, "Sick, let's do it." So then I sent him the files, and then like a month later, we've got a song, and that was "Last Train Home," which I released. Was it about 2 months ago now, maybe two or
Hmm.
three? But yeah, that was the first time I've really collaborated with someone as well. So it's just kind of you just have these like peaks of inspiration, but sometimes I got to take a break from Instagram as well
Hmm.
because it can just become all too much. Like I took about like a 2 week break before I did my last post, and that was it felt good just to like recenter yourself and just be like, okay, breathe. I have a life outside of my phone.
Hmm. Do you ever find that it's like a lack of inspiration, or is it more just stress?
I think it's a mix of everything. I mean,
Hmm.
the whole fact of me like moving into like an apartment on the other side of the world by myself.
Yeah.
I would have had my parents come across, but like they couldn't come because I had the visa. Um, so yeah, like moving across, like I had 2 suitcases, and that was it, and a guitar, and I was like, okay, just gotta try and make this work for me. But so that
Wow.
made that was pretty stressful, like getting set up. But I feel like it's like in a sense of normality now. I've got like in classes and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've got a schedule, and yeah, just trying to keep everything afloat at once is just the difficult part.
How busy is your schedule for school this semester?
It's not too bad. I declared as a performance major.
Hmm.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. It is pretty stressful with like I'm playing the most amount of guitar than I ever have at Berkeley.
Hmm.
So, instead of one guitar lesson a week, I've got two, and I'm doing like 2 guitar labs and like an ensemble,
Wow.
which online ensembles are just recording, but it's not as fun as like in person. But
What are you using? Soundtrap?
no, we're just like exchanging like stems, and we're just like recording songs.
Mm.
So that's interesting, but I just find myself on an evening, it's like I can't just chill and watch Netflix. It's always like, oh
Hmm.
damn, I've got to do a transcription for tomorrow.
I totally know that feeling. The thing I was talking about this with Augie in the last stream was like, I almost feel like because I love school and it's incredibly important, but sometimes it gets in the way of doing what I really want to do, and it's almost like it's not like I'm working. It's not like I start at zero every day and then I build up to the stuff I want to do. I feel like the stuff I want to do is at zero, and I'm like starting at a deficit and have to get all this school out of the way. It's like, oh, today I want to do this, but oh crap, I have to do all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah, I've got to do all this ear training, all this harmony, and then maybe I'll have a shred of energy left to actually do some original stuff.
Well, the nice thing is about the online classes, as flawed as they are. Well, that's bullshit. To be fair, the non-performance classes I think are they work really well on Zoom. I don't really
Oh
have any
yeah, yeah.
problems with them. The only problems I really have are with the ensembles, just because it ends up becoming more like a recording session, which is nothing wrong with that. But of course, it's not the same as being in the same room. But the nice thing about having those online classes is that it does leave a little extra time, because you can be in a class and then right as you're done, you can just switch over to your DAW and start working on music, which I do really like about that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah.
What software do you use to make your music?
I use Logic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
use Logic since I first got a Mac, like in 2017. That's when, because 2017 was really when I started making music,
Mm-hmm.
and I did do a Pro Tools class like in my first semester here, but like absolutely hated it. I just don't understand it whatsoever. Like, I got a good grade in the class, but still don't know how to use it.
My roommate's
Um,
trying to teach himself how to use Pro Tools right now, and every time I go into his room and he's like working on something and I ask him a question, I'm like, why is it like that? Why does it work like this?
it's just so confusing. I feel like I'm just so deep into Logic now, I just can't get out.
Well, Logic's
So,
an incredible program.
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just find it funny when people argue about like DAWs, and you're just like, you do you. If you make good sounding music, at the end of the day, no one's gonna care what you used.
Yeah, I mean, do you know Joji, the singer?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as of a year ago, he was on a show called The Cave with Kenny Beats, and he said that all of his music that he produces, which I think he might produce all of his songs, I'm not totally sure, but up till I think that must have been his first album, produced entirely in GarageBand. I mean, obviously they're mixed in probably Pro Tools,
Yeah.
but produced in GarageBand, free software. So it really goes to show you that you can do anything.
That was the weird thing about I was actually like looking at Joji today, like listening to some songs. I didn't realize until today that Joji was Filthy Frank.
Wait, are
No
you
idea.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. I had no idea. Like I was like, what? Where does this come from?
See, he used to have a channel pre Filthy Frank called Joji Vlogs. So when he was doing the Filthy Frank thing, I kept up with that, and I'd see like people would call him Joji, and they would, there's like this running joke of people saying like, is that Joji Vlogs? So that's really the reason that I knew right off the bat, because I kind of always had heard people refer to him as that. But it is kind of amazing, isn't it? That
That's quite a career change, isn't it? Like,
it's probably the most incredible career change of all time.
but it's
that
it's not like he like failed at something so then changed, but he was doing really well. He just done amazingly at both things. So
he was
incredible.
he was against all odds for the type of stuff he made on YouTube, which is some of the most like vulgar stuff you could do. Absolutely shockingly vulgar, which of course is the point. It's a satire on internet culture. But he transitions from this crazy thing, and then right at the peak, he's getting all these views against YouTube trying to cancel him, like trying to basically shut his page down all the time. He goes, I'm going to be a musician. And then within like 8 months he released Slow Dancing in the Dark, which at this point is at like 500 million streams on Spotify. That's absolutely
crazy.
Incredible.
And it's not like he went from like I feel like the classic like comedy YouTuber into music. It goes into like comedy music, which is fine. I mean, like, like Tiny Meat Gang, like Cody Cohen, Noel Miller.
Yeah.
Like their stuff is hilarious, and I like love their stuff. But then for someone to go like into serious music as well and like do it like so well, it's incredible.
And he makes like the opposite of comedy music, because most of it's pretty sad, which I guess makes sense, because usually the people like stand-up comedians always write like the darkest non-comedy stuff. So I guess it kind of makes sense for someone who's known for, who makes like ridiculous stuff to come out and do something completely the opposite. Like
exactly.
Jordan Peele wrote Get Out. That's a really dark movie, and coming from someone who Key and Peele's some of the most hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was like Key and Peele was on a regular basis in basically every sketch, SNL at its best.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I always every time I think of Joji, I forget now. Now I tend to forget. I go, I start to think of him as only Joji. I kind of forget about the whole Filthy Frank thing. But when I think about it, I'm like, man, there's things that's like, there are some people who could say 0.1% of the stuff that like he would say in his videos or do in his videos, and they would be done forever.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
It's absolutely, and you got to just commend him for that.
That's some. I mean, he's done it. He's really played the system, but
He destroyed the system. He played chess with the system. Yeah, but it is the thing about him going into, writing pretty depressing music. And I don't know if it's like a conscious thing, if it's like, that's just how he's feeling. Do you ever think about that with your music? Do you ever think about like, I want my music to be a certain type of way before you make it? Or is it just always just kind of what you're experiencing at that time?
No, yeah, it's exactly just what I'm experiencing. It's very like in the moment when I get like an inspiration for lyrics and stuff. And it's normally like what's happened like the day before,
How long does it usually take you to write those songs?
It can depend. Mostly, actually, with my songs, I'll do them in a day because I just like if I get an idea for a song and I feel like it's going well, I'm like, okay, we're doing this then. There's not a lot of times where I've spent like 2 weeks, 3 weeks on a song.
Do you usually track it the same day that you write it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Gotcha. I mean, like sometimes like I'll go to bed, then listen to it the next day and think, oh, my vocals sound atrocious, so I'm like record them again. But yeah, it's very, very spur in the moment. And also because I feel like my Spotify bio used to be lo-fi because I don't know how to make it hi-fi, and that's kind of like the thing I do because I don't feel like I've not got the equipment to make it like high fidelity, so I might as well stop trying to do that and embrace how I'm not gonna be amazing at producing or playing or singing. So like just like playing into that, which I feel like is a cool way to do it.
No, that's a great way to do it because some of the coolest music out nowadays, like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish records her stuff in her house with her brother in her bedroom, and a lot of it technically, and I'm saying this literally technically, doesn't sound that great. But to me and to most people, it sounds fantastic because it's new and innovative and it has a cool, unique style. But there always is going to be that level of people saying like, well, you didn't do it this way. You didn't use this. You didn't use this compressor, and you didn't have this mic, so therefore it's not valid. Which is just an annoying continuation of that, like the audio engineering community. I'm sorry, I just feel like I'm going off on all of the music related communities that bug me, but the audio engineering one is another one.
Yeah, we love elitism.
They're really creative arts in general, which is so ridiculous because it's like
it should be the other way around.
Yeah, it should be the people who are the non-creative types. Musicians, they make fun stuff. Music is meant to make you feel something, which even if it makes you feel something sad, it's still like an enjoyable experience, especially listening to something sad when you're sad or listening to something happy when you're happy. And it's like, why are you being so mean? We're making fun stuff.
Oh, exactly.
And I think there's a lot. Again, this is a small portion, I'm sure, of people who make music that are actually like this, but the people who are really bug me. I feel like this is not the last time I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to keep bringing up how much it bothers me.
Recurring segment.
Exactly. Like every stream I'm going to bring this up because I think I brought it up with Augie too. I talked with him too about when we were talking about Instagram because he's had some issues with Instagram kind of not lately. This is a recent thing, not showing his stuff to people at the scale that it was before, even though he has more followers. Have you run into any experiences with Instagram being a little shady with their algorithm?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Like recently as well, I've seen like my views drop quite significantly. Which is like, I guess you just gotta like not look at the views. I tend to like not look at my analytics anymore because I see like I'm losing followers more than I'm gaining them, and it's like it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, it has been interesting because then sometimes some of my friends I'll say, oh, have you seen my most recent video? And they'll be like, oh, No, like I haven't seen that. It's like my Instagram isn't even showing it to my actual friends.
Yeah,
You know,
that's exactly what Augie was talking about.
and
Because
it's
it's
really
just
weird how it's not showing it to the people that actually follow you to watch your content. That's
Mhm.
really weird to me. So I guess that's another reason why I'm like, doing the whole original music as well, because I woke up one day, a few months ago, and I was like, if Instagram shut down, I think it was when the whole like thing about the TikTok shutting
Oh
down
yeah, when
thing.
that started, that could still happen. TikTok could
Yeah.
be out sometime.
I mean, I know like I'm not big on TikTok at all, like got a couple hundred followers, but like I was like, well, what if one day they said, okay, Instagram shutting down, I would be nothing. So
Yeah,
I've got to like spread
diversify your
yeah.
portfolio.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. Well, talking about the analytics on Instagram, what is the most meaningful thing to you when you post a video in terms of what do you see in those analytics that makes you go like, I like doing this. This means a lot to me. This shows that people are really liking this. What is that to you?
It's mainly actually well, they always say it's like in the first hour you'll know if your video is done well or not, because
Hmm.
it's like how many comments, or I don't even know. No one knows how it works. But it's just when you post a video, and I can always like sometimes feel it if I've made like a good video and I'm like, yeah, I'm really proud of this. Um, and then you get like, you start off with like my friends commenting, and that's really nice because they're the people that are supported like me from the beginning. But
Hmm.
then when it's like you start getting like floods of comments from like, people you don't know, saying how like they're like really inspired by me and stuff. And then the more I mean, I guess it is comments which really like drive my creativity, because it's, a like is a like, but a comment is like actually what someone said.
Yeah.
So that's really meaningful, because they took time out of their day like to actually write something to me, which is incredible. Even if it's, a hate comment, they took time out of their day to do that, so they
it
obviously
did
care
it
about
did
me.
something to them that made
Yeah,
them think I got to say something.
exactly.
Um, I'm just thinking about people being. I'm trying to keep myself from going on another rant about people being annoying. Um, would you ever find now that you know your Instagram famous? Do you find that
Hey, hey, hold your horses.
well hey you're at a level that 95% of people don't get to as a musician, you know what I mean? So that's not, nothing to scoff at, and it's enough, especially, I mean, any form of clout is something that is noticeable, especially for musicians, because it's hard for musicians to find that. Do you find that people kind of kiss your ass now at school with that now and say like, hey, hey, do you want to be friends, you want to go out,
Oh. No, that's something interesting. Mainly it was like in first semester. When you're meeting everyone, it's like orientation. Um, there was a lot of people that would like, they were coming like, oh, I've seen you from Instagram. And you're like, oh, that's like awesome. And they're like, yeah, let's like hang out and maybe let's like make a video together. And you can put it on
Hmm.
your Instagram. And it's like, okay, that's why you want to be friends with me. Like,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. But no, I think it's mainly I just tend to stay away from clout chasers.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
mean,
find the people that you really like and then like you want to collaborate with. But there to an extent there's quite a few people that are like, oh yeah, we should jam, but like definitely put me on your Instagram and tag me. Like,
how do
no.
you sort those people out?
I think you can tell like within the first like few seconds, because if it's like, if someone instantly goes to the whole kind of like, they don't, if you can tell if they don't respect you as like as a human
Yeah,
first. They go to your like socials first. They don't get to know you. They're like, oh yeah, what's your Instagram? And they don't. And then
gotcha.
as soon as they see how many followers, they're like, oh, actually, like, can we talk?
You want to be in a band?
Yeah, that's the worst. But you can't just like shut people out because they just want to play with you. I mean, like,
Yeah,
it just sound like such an awful person. But I guess.
but there's always those with every negative aspect about it. There's always the people who acknowledge that you have something cool going, but also want to be a part of it, but aren't necessarily just trying to kiss your ass, and they like, what about like getting good? Do you get jobs well now because of Instagram?
Not really like jobs. I've getting into kind of doing session work now. I've never really done it because I've never been confident enough in myself for doing other people's like work, because
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like I've never been good enough to actually like give someone a product and be like, yes, this is me. Because I'm always like, it's not good enough. But yeah, so that like in terms of like artists like coming to me and wanting guitar, that started to like pick itself up. I can't say anything at the moment, but it's cool. Um, but yeah, like also mainly it's for like endorsements and stuff for like gear. The Instagram's quite a big like playing card in that factor. Like I get, when I do live streams, a lot of people like saying, how do you get endorsements? And it's like the only way now to get endorsements is either if you're on a tour or you have a social media following, because
Mm-hmm.
what companies look for is that they want their stuff to be shown. If you're, you can be the best guitarist in the world, you could like know everything, but if like you've got 50 followers, the companies don't see anything with that.
Yeah.
If you've got like an established following and you can reach, even if it's like 50,000 people, if you get like 50,000 views on a video, like that's money to them. So
Mm-hmm.
and getting a guitar out of it is just the icing on the cake. But
Are all the people that you endorse, are those companies that you used to before the sponsorship, or did you just kind of get to know them and really like them because they came after you?
yeah, quite a few of them. It's quite a few of them's like mutual as well. Like one of my most recent one, like Guild Guitars, are like amazing guys over there. I used to have a Guild acoustic. It was like my first acoustic guitar, and it was over quarantine. I was kind of bored,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what, like I should send Guild a message. I was like, see like if they're interested, send them a message, and I heard back from them like a day later, and the guy said, yeah, like let's work. Like love your like music and your Instagram. Love the story, because I told him about like how I got the guitar and stuff. And he was like, yeah, we should definitely work. And I feel like that's a real kind of natural way of doing it. It's kind of like I appreciate their stuff, and then we can mutually benefit from each other, And but then again, like my string endorsement, Ernie Ball, like I've used Ernie Ball for my whole life. So like being associated with them is great, because I feel like it's repaid itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with all these things, you've got to be picky, because you don't want to be promoting something that you don't use, because then it's just the worst. Because you got to look past like free gear, and you got to think, okay, what do I actually want to try and sell to people, even though I'm not actually getting any money from it. So
Would you consider doing a sponsorship for somebody you never heard of if they came to you and said, we have this crazy product and it held up as much as they said it did?
I think I would, if depending on, it's very like dependent. But like I got this email the other day. I won't name drop the company, but they were like, oh, we, they sent like 3 emails, and I was like, okay, like just leave me alone. But there were these like Bluetooth headphones, and that they're like pretty reasonably priced, but they're like, yeah, we would love you to like do like 2 normal posts, a few story posts, like a live video with them. I'm like, I don't think I feel comfortable just getting some earphones, like nothing else, to promote these to everyone. I feel like it's like an injustice to my followers. That like, is that selling out? Like, I don't want to sell out as much
No,
as
that's
possible.
that's a good trait to have, because you see people sometimes get clout, especially on social media, and just they start endorsing these companies, and you're like, do you really use this? Because I've heard stories of people that they go on, and I'm talking big artists, and they get these sponsorships for stuff that they never use in their
Yeah.
real life.
Oh yeah, I think you got to be really careful, because like your audience is where they got you to where you are, and you
Yeah.
don't want to just be like, oh, buy this, buy that, because I would feel
Hmm.
guilty if I'm spending these people's monies. Like, no, it doesn't feel ethical to me. So
And it's also the matter of, even if there's you put no like moral thing to it, it's bad business practice to like you said, they're the people who got you there. It's bad to say, oh, this company's going to give me this money. In the long term, that's going to end up hurting you, even just purely financially, because people are going to be like, I like this guy, but man, he's sponsoring all these people that they suck. They're awful at what they
yeah,
do, and he doesn't really,
yeah,
and it ends up, even if like I said, not having any morality to it, it ends up hurting you financially, even if there's like this upfront payment that, looks really nice.
Yeah, I think like the main thing I'm just trying to do is like stay true to myself. I don't want to like get too involved like in the whole Instagram thing, and I don't want to get too involved in anything just because I just want to stay myself, and I don't want to. That's why I'm trying not to do like videos for what I think will do well on Instagram, because I know I know for a fact I could get a lot of views if tonight, if I posted a video of myself playing Slow Dancing in a Burning Room by John Mayer, I would get loads of views. And I know that, but I'm not going to do it because I've posted it 3 times already and it's like an overplayed song. And I know that could help grow my account, but it's like growing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, what cost?
Yeah. Oh,
Is
exactly.
are the videos that always do well for you the ones that is there ever a time where you go, this is going to do really well, and it does and it exceeds or it matches that expectation, or is it more of is it just kind of like a crapshoot and sometimes they do well and sometimes they don't?
You know what? It's so strange that I've tried like looking for trends in it, and like tried looking for what does well and what doesn't, but like sometimes mostly it's actually playing with a band, like just like an off-take solo. Like one of my most viewed video, I think it's over like 350k views on Instagram now, was just it was me and this band called The Apartment Project, who like incredible like covers on YouTube and stuff, and we were doing a John Mayer of course it's John Mayer, doing Moving On Getting Over, and it was just like I set my phone up on a music stand on the other side of the room, pointed it towards me when I did the solo, and it was kind of like a bit of a rough solo, but I uploaded it, and then it was just like in the first hour it got like 17,000 views, and I was like, whoa, I normally get about 4,000 in the first hour, like what's going on
How
here?
many followers did you have at the time?
Oh, so that was quite recently, so I maybe had 40 odd, maybe like 45.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And then I started doing more like collaborations with like bands and like with other people, and those seem to do well. But then sometimes just post by myself would do well. But the weirdest thing I found something out is that most of the time, the more effort you put into making a video, the worse it'll do.
I have noticed that with stuff that I've done, where it's like I feel like stuff I put all this time into, and I'm like, this is going to do really good, and then I make something that obviously I don't want to post anything that's not good, but sometimes you make things that you like that don't take a lot of effort, and those are always the spontaneous ones that people grasp onto the easiest.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I feel there's a lot with me, at least. I overthink a lot of things, and just the huge overthinking is a big barrier for me, because then it's like, oh, maybe people will like this, they won't like this. But at the end of the day, like if it's one Instagram post that doesn't do well, it's not the end of the world. Like,
yeah, there's still a whole collection of ones that did do well, and there's a bunch in the future that kind of outweigh just one of them not doing well.
Oh yeah, and true. There's always the delete button if like the worst comes to the worst. So
do you ever delete videos?
I've deleted a few in the past. There was one recently I did because I looked at it, and I always want to be, no matter if it's like good or bad, I always want to be proud of what I did. And I think it was just so rushed because I went to a break over the summer for posting for a bit, just like kind of emotional reasons, like it was lockdown, other like factors at play as well. And I just posted this awful video, like I don't know, I can't even remember what it was now, but I looked back at it like 10 minutes later and I was like, this just isn't good. And I thought, like, I don't want this to be like the thing. If someone just looks at my account now, they're going to see that, just out of tune. And I was like, no, it was rushed out. So I have like a level of kind of like, I want to be proud of it before I post.
Absolutely. And it's weird how sometimes you can make something and spend hours on it and it looks really great to you. And then the second it goes public, it's like part of your brain just goes, wait a minute, what the hell did I just do? Is that something you experience when you make things?
Oh, totally. It's so weird. Like, especially with my vocals, because I really don't like the sound of my own voice. So I find it really hard to mix my voice.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when you've listened to it and you keep on listening to it over and over again, you get used to it, and you then don't listen to your mistakes. And then as soon as you post it, it like resets in your mind, and then you hear all the mistakes. So that's the worst part.
It's weird that that the brain works like that. I wish I knew some psychological reason that I could pinpoint, but it's just strange how your brain, when it knows, even if you say this is done, when you know that no one else is going to hear it, your brain just treats it completely differently, and almost immediately, as soon as you know that, oh crap, this is not just me anymore, you get that objectivity comes back.
Oh yeah, totally. There's I think, and we're all our own biggest critics as well. So it's like, I feel like, for me at least as well, like I'm my biggest hater as well. So I've got to really look through myself with that critical eye, because I can't let like the really bad things slip through. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's how the people who have the best longevity in the public eye are the people who think like that, who really hate on what they do. There's a lot of I hear a lot of people talking about, you got to be positive towards you do, and of course you have to stay positive in the long term, but that it's an important factor. Just, I'm not saying for me, I haven't done anything. I'm not trying to say I'm, the model. I'm just saying from people that I respect, they always have that opinion of, I have to be the person who hates it before the person who hates it has a chance to hate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
And those are the best instructors that I've had in college are the people who didn't say, you just got to be good about it. You got to feel good about it, and it's got to be great, and you gotta love everything you do. The best instructors, the people that I found, are the happiest because they're being honest. They're not lying to themselves. The most fulfilled and the most successful, genuinely, are the people who are going, this sucks. I suck at everything. And it kind of pushes them to make something better. And then, from that, they make something better after that.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Because you can't look at the world through like, rose-colored glasses and think everything's amazing. I mean, sometimes you got to. Sometimes, that's what you got to do. But I think my outlook as it is like, I can always improve. So like, what's the process to improvement for me?
Absolutely. And then next thing you know, you might be at 1 million followers on Instagram, and it's just like that perpetual growth that you got to keep doing,
I can't even think about that kind of number. Like I was sat in bed the other day. It was like nighttime. I was like looking at my Insta. I was like 60, like, oh, I'm on 63 or something. I was like 63,000 followers. Like how many people is that?
If you think about it, like as a physical amount of people, it's crazy.
I was thinking like, that's like, like a football stadium's worth of people. I was like, that is honestly like kind of crazy. Like to visualize, even like 1,000 people is a lot of people. But that's, and it's quite a weird like amount of responsibility then you then put on yourself. But
do you ever feel like that? Because like you said, like I said earlier, that you're Instagram famous, which in my perspective you are. Of course you're being modest about it. You're a nice guy, but do you ever feel that responsibility of thinking like, man, people think about what I do. Maybe I can't just be totally myself, or I have to kind of change what I do because I don't want to negatively impact someone's opinions, or not just of me, but of things in general. Do you feel that weight?
Yeah, to an extent. And I think it's kind of a blessing that I'm not like a lifestyle like influencer, that I feel like I don't communicate through words on Instagram, so that's fine. I can't really say anything like bad. So it's kind of a blessing that it's just music, so that I try not to get into like politics at all on Instagram as well, because I feel like with music it's about bringing people together, not just trying to trigger everyone. So
yeah,
I feel like I'm in quite a safe space where I can just post, where I used to post John Mayer covers, and the world was happy. So, to an extent, I do feel that responsibility, but like, I feel like I've got the platform if I need it, if I really need to like speak about things. Like, I did post a video maybe 2 months ago about like mental health. That's really quite close to my heart. Is like, really taking care of yourself is just bigger than anything. I really do think
it's incredibly important.
I never really like came into my, sphere of influence until recently. But it's one of those things. It's like you've really got to, at the end of the day, like you've got to care about yourself more than others, like because you've only got one you. And it's so important to have, a loving family, and if not, like amazing friends as well. And you can't just pigeonhole yourself away. But yeah, so like speaking up about that is really, I felt like was the right thing to do in my case.
Yeah, well, incredible respect. That's, a very important topic, especially for and have an audience of people who like music. They're going to be most likely creative people, and creative people tend to have a lot of issues with that kind of stuff, having that. I've just found the stress of I'm not saying I'm a creative person. I'm just saying the things I tend to do are in the sphere of, I'm trying very hard to be modest because I feel like if I say, oh, I'm a creative person, it makes me seem like I think highly of myself. But, there is that stress that happens when you are constantly being judged by yourself, which I said like before is important, and you're being judged by others. And as much as that's just a natural part of life, it can get you down. So it's important to really focus on your mental health to keep your creativity, non-toxic.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You can't just put yourself down a rabbit hole and, just suppress everything. I think you've got to like stay aware of yourself as well as your career and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, George, I've been skating on ice in terms of not completely shutting off and stop talking and running out of things to say. And you just put us on a great topic of taking care of yourself. So I think we're going to leave it on that note before I totally embarrass myself. So George, thank you so much for being here. Me. I appreciate it more than you could ever know. You are the absolute best. Let's keep in contact. I wish the best for you. I hope Instagram doesn't try to screw over your content too much.
Let's hope.
That's exactly hope. Well, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who watched, everyone who commented. There'll be a replay up with this, and I'll have clips of it coming up soon. So thank you all very much, and we're out.
Wow. Wow.